If you've ever been taught that relaxers are only for certain hair types, or if you've been told your hair won't tolerate a relaxer, there's a really good chance that that stylist may have been misinformed. This is a sodium hydroxide relaxer. Cream relaxer, lye relaxer. It's known by many names. Today I want to talk about maybe some myths surrounding relaxer and really what hair type it's for. If this is your first time here, my name is Holland Morgan. I go by Cosmo Dad. I am a hairstylist and educator in Austin, Texas. I travel and teach in salons as well as take clients and do hair myself. I really believe in understanding the hows and whys behind the techniques and chemicals that we use, and believe that in understanding these things that we could have a prosperous and fulfilling career. We'll be happy with our results, our clients will be happy with our results, and so on. If this is your first visit, welcome. If you haven't subscribed, please do. It really helps me out, lets me know that I'm on the right track, that you enjoy the material that I'm putting out. On with the show. As a class of chemicals, relaxers have not been out very long. Traditionally, they are used in African American hair to make it straight and look like European hair. There's a lot of problems with this. If you feel like you have to do a relaxer in order to make your appearance socially acceptable, then I'm sorry, and it really shouldn't be that way. In fact, if you haven't heard of the Crown Act, that is a hair anti-discrimination act that a handful of states have. Last month, March of 2022, the US Senate passed a federal Crown Act. And now it needs to go into House, and I really hope that this gets passed. That means that if we get a National Crown Act, then it will become officially illegal to discriminate on people based on their hair. That means schools, workplaces, even our country's own military will no longer be able to tell you that you're not allowed to wear an afro or locks or express your culture or your genetics in any way that you deem necessary through your hair. I'm going to put a link to the Crown Act's page in the description down below. I highly suggest you go sign petitions yourself and send letters to your government representatives, and that will all be available in the link. I have a very definite stance and feeling about relaxers and where they have their place in society. As a tool of oppression to make people conform to a particular beauty standard, I think that they are wrong, and if that's the only reason they existed, then they shouldn't exist. I think now that they are here, if you are a person with curly hair and you don't feel like embracing that curl, then it is your freedom to do with your hair whatever you want. And if it's your choice to permanently remove that curl, then I say go for it. I just want to draw that clear line and make sure that I don't condone other people making that choice for you. So as a tool of expression, yes. As a tool of oppression, no. But beyond that, if you are interested in a relaxer because you have curly hair and you would love it to be permanently straightened, then relaxers are a good option. Now onto the myth portion. I can't tell you how many times I have heard a stylist make discriminatory comments about relaxers, being afraid to do them, about who they're for, who they're not for. I've even seen clients walk in and request a relaxer, and if their hair doesn't look pretty much like this or curlier, then the stylist will tell the guest, "Oh, relaxer's not for you. That'll break your hair right off." Like if Annabelle here came into the salon for a relaxer, I would venture to say that most stylists I know would say, without even touching her hair, first of all, would just look at her skin color and say, "Oh, relaxers aren't for your hair type. You can't do that." Now hold on just a minute. What is it you think relaxers do? They break the chemical bonds of the hair, yes, and we're able to somewhat repair them, yes, so we could reshape the hair, take curly hair, permanently straighten the hair that has grown out of the head. The new hair that grows in, still going to be curly, so you have to retouch those things. And the hair is going to require some special maintenance, as it does with any other chemical service. But what I want to say when I hear stylists say that is, do you think white people's hair is more fragile than black people's hair? Like they have some sort of special status, you have to be super kind to them? Because, like, as a hairstylist, we should never look at somebody's skin color and make judgments about their hair. You can have siblings, you can have family members that have hair that looks similar, but acts and reacts totally different. When it comes to any chemical service, I want to know the density of someone's hair, how many hairs per square inch they have, the diameter of their hair. Is their hair fine, medium, or coarse? And then I want to know about their curl pattern. And there's lots of ways that we have of describing the curl pattern and the amount of curl present. But here's the part that people seem to forget. Just because people tend to be more rough, less gentle with curly hair, does not mean that curly hair has a greater tolerance for that roughness. As a matter of fact, it's exactly the opposite. When it comes to hair texture, the more curve that is in the hair, let me just see if I can pick up a small section. The more bend there is in hair, the more separation there is between the individual cuticle layers, the more fragile that hair is automatically going to be. Finer hair is going to be more fragile, drier hair is going to be more fragile, and the more curl you have in your hair, the more fragile it's going to be. So that means that 4B, 4C curls, the kind of hair we tend to associate with relaxers, is actually way, way more fragile than somebody with just sort of a beachy curl. So if the first thing you do is you look at somebody and you say that your curl's too loose, relaxer is going to burn it off. As a matter of fact, these curls are going to be way more robust, way stronger, and way more able to tolerate something like a relaxer than this hair. Just because this hair is starting out curlier doesn't mean that it's stronger or more amenable to a relaxer. So to prove that, I am going to take Annabelle here and apply some relaxer to half of her head so we can observe the results. All right, so I got my gloves, I got my friend. Some things to know about relaxer. I think a lot of stylists are afraid to apply relaxers because they're afraid they might melt someone's hair off. Is it possible to melt someone's hair off with a relaxer? Yes. Is it possible to melt someone's hair off with a relaxer applied correctly? Not usually. There are hair types and times that you should not be doing a relaxer on somebody. It is not advisable to do a relaxer that has had a permanent wave done on it, or even a curl reformation. Anything with ammonium thioglycolate, not generally compatible with sodium hydroxide or any of our other sort of hydroxide relaxers. Second of all, it is not advisable to do a relaxer on hair that's been bleached. Hair that is weak, compromised, has seen more than its fair share of drama, not hair that I'd recommend doing relaxer on. If you're doing what's often referred to as a texturizer, which is typically just a relaxer that's processed for a shorter amount of time, it is common practice to comb those through hair. If that's the route you choose to go, then you have to make sure that you're using a sufficiently wide tooth comb so that you don't cause damage to the hair. It's not the combing that makes a texturizer work. It's actually the speed of application. So that comb should be there to help you apply quickly and cleanly and get that process over and done with so that you can rinse it off so that you don't take the hair too far. The longer you leave relaxer on, obviously it just continues working. Now remember, I'm only doing half of this head so we can compare her hair before and after. And the reason I am doing this on this hair is so that I can show that just about any hair type, if you want to reduce or remove curl, relaxer is totally appropriate. A lot of the myths when it comes to relaxers not only come from racial stereotypes and Eurocentric beauty standards, but they also come from a misunderstanding of how relaxers work and a misunderstanding of the application process and timing. When it comes to sodium hydroxide relaxers, I think a lot of stylists are hesitant to apply it to more European hair. They think that the processing is really short and that they won't be able to get it done and processed in time. Well, the fact of the matter is that every relaxer should be short in duration and should not sit on the hair for more than 20 minutes. That means for an entire relaxer process, I start my timing the minute the relaxer touches the hair, no matter what the hair type, texture, or the person's ethnic background. Once that 20-minute timer is up, with the exception of just a couple relaxers who might go for 25 minutes, I'm done. So I need to be fast enough with a relaxer on anybody to be done within that 20-25 minutes. So the assumption is, oh my gosh, this European person's hair can't take the relaxer for more than 25 minutes. And the fact of the matter is not only is their hair probably naturally stronger because there's less curl to begin with, but the other side of that question is the relaxer shouldn't be on anybody's head for more than 20 or 25 minutes. Let's do my smoothing test. All right, we're ready for our next phase, and I'll see y'all in just a couple of minutes. Okay, we're back from the shampoo bowl. We got our relaxer neutralized, and as any good relaxer, so here's our side before the relaxer, and the other side, if I give it a little bit of scrunching, you can see there's actually a little bit of, tiniest bit of natural wave left in there. It's not 100% straight. That's actually exactly how it should be. You should never endeavor to remove 100% of the natural texture from the hair, no matter what level you're starting at. So let's get her styled out and take a look at how she looks when she's dry. Now you can see sort of a nominal amount of hair stuck in the brush. Anything you'd have with a normal blow dry. I didn't do anything incredible with her blow dry. I added a little bit of heat protection serum to her hair. But you can see that hair is still movable. It's still soft. Yes, she still needs a haircut. Mission accomplished. She went from curly to straight with very little effort. Her hair's not any more damaged than somebody with very curly hair having gone through the same process. If you've ever been taught that relaxers are only for certain hair types, or if you've been told your hair won't tolerate a relaxer, there's a really good chance that stylist may have been misinformed. If they actually took you in to sit you down and examine your hair and then said there was some sort of a factor that disqualified you from having a relaxer, then I might trust their opinion. But if they never even came out from behind the counter and said, oh no, relaxers aren't for you, they went off some bad information, they were taught the wrong things, and in a perfect world, they would have known better. Any curl pattern, any hair type, as long as it's healthy, can tolerate a relaxer. Myth busted. Support the Federal Crown Act. Click in the link in the description below. Sign the petition. Contact your lawmakers. I'll see you all next time.